Today I am going to explain adventure film from 2021 titled Jungle Cruise. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The film commences with the Amazonian myth of the Tears of the Moon, a tree possessing enchanting abilities of restoration and lifting any hex within a single petal of its flower. Many had journeyed vast distances to locate it, but the most remarkable one is the conquistador Agir, who was resolute in claiming its power. Agir and his men battled the wilderness that safeguarded the mystical tree until he was discovered by the tree's genuine protectors and rehabilitated by them. The instant he recuperated, Agir insisted they provide him with the arrowhead, which is the key to discovering the tree. The Guardians declined, so the conquistador assaulted them, but all he and his men received was a curse never to depart from the gaze of the Amazonian River again. McGregor can be seen recounting the tale of the tree, indicating its potential location on a map. He is presenting the concepts without the arrowhead to a society that cherishes, among other relics, and soliciting access to it so that he could initiate an expedition aspiring to uncover the tears of the moon. His sister Lily, the true author of his speech, can be seen up in the rafters mouthing the words. When she realizes that her brother won't persuade the society to give them the arrowhead, Lily takes matters into her own hands while McGregor delays them. She enters the hallways of the society with a map to guide her to the chamber with the artifacts. When she encounters Prince Joachim, the man assumes that she's merely searching for the assistant's room, so he allows her to pass. Lily breaks into the room and changes into some male attire to appear more inconspicuous. She manages to locate the crate containing the artifact, and once she opens it and steals the arrowhead, Joachim is led into the room by one of the society members. H2 is searching for the arrowhead, so when they open the crate and discover the artifact missing, Joachim turns and spots Lily attempting to flee the room. He instructs the men to halt her, but she manages to fend them all off in bold and inventive ways, demonstrating both her physical prowess and cleverness. In the end, it's Joachim who halts her, sending Lily tumbling down the library steps and out of the window. She clings tightly as Joachim loosens the string on the steps, sending Lily soaring even farther toward the street. He requests that she hand over the arrowhead if she wants his assistance, so Lily throws Joachim the box and then drops into the bus her brother managed to stop for her benefit. Joachim opens it only to find the arrowhead missing. The society member attempts to apologize to him for losing the artifact, but the prince, after discovering who Lily is, simply eliminates all of them. Later, Lily and McGregor are packing to embark on their expedition to the Amazonian River to find the tree, with the elevated notion that it will help them cure the world of illness. With the entire route mapped out, all they have left to find is a skipper to take them through the river. Cut to the Amazon sometime later in the midst of a cruise transporting a group of English tourists along the river. The skipper of this particular battered vessel is Frank, a con artist who has crafted his entire cruise on the premise that everything in the Amazon can kill you just to deceive a little more money from his passengers. He utilized all kinds of tricks and schemes to convince the tourists they're having a risky adventure, even paying a tribe to help him mislead them. Meanwhile, Lily and McGregor arrive in the small town by the Amazon where Frank has set up his operation. They are also being followed by the prince's men. She's excited to find a skipper for their trip and rushes out to find Nilo, who seems to own most of the boats in the dock. Nilo, on the other hand, goes to talk with Frank, who has just docked his boat, and asks him to settle his debt. When Frank can't pay the entire amount, Nilo takes his engine and locks it away, saying that he'll return it once he is paid in full. So McGregor and Lily separate to find Milo, and she finds herself standing in front of his office speaking with Frank instead. He has broken into the office to steal the key to retrieve his engine and pretends to be Nilo so Lily doesn't suspect he's up to anything nefarious. When Lily explains that she needs someone to take her downriver and that she has a substantial amount of money, Frank opens the door. She storms inside and immediately tells him where she needs to go. Frank continues to impersonate Nilo as he informs Lily that the place she wants to visit is perilous and asks her where she obtained the map. She takes pride in it, stating that it was drawn by Agir's cartographer some 400 years ago, and that it belonged to her father who used to tell her about the legend. Frank laughs at her and suggests a different kind of adventure. Lily notices that he was trying to access the box with the key to his boat, so she unlocks it for him. That convinces Frank to accept the job, and he leads Lily into the restaurant to finalize the deal. As they negotiate the price for the journey, McGregor appears with the real Nilo. Lily bids farewell to Frank when she realizes that she's been deceived, and he spots the arrowhead hanging around her neck. After seeing it, he becomes determined to gain her as a client and keeps lowering his price, claiming he's the only one who can get her there. Suddenly, a jaguar strolls into the restaurant, and while Nilo rushes to hide, Frank defends McGregor and Lily from the animal, grappling with it and ultimately outsmarting it with a stake. The way Frank handles the jaguar convinces Lily that he's the right person for the job, and she hires him on the spot. Later, Frank picks up the siblings from the dock, but another issue arises. Lily gets abducted by some locals for Joachim, and Frank sails the boat out with McGregor to evade Nilo's men. Fortunately, Lily manages to escape her captors quickly through an intricate run around the dock and is finally picked up by Frank and McGregor in the boat. As they sail away, Joachim is informed that Lily wasn't captured, so he orders his men to surface the submarine. He's determined to reach the tree because he believes it will help Germany in World War I. First, Joachim fires at the boat, but when that fails, he targets them with a torpedo. With a clever maneuver, Frank saves the boat from the torpedo as the submarine's propeller becomes ensnared in a rope and is flung toward the dock, destroying all of Nilo's vessels. Frank and his passengers are finally on their way to the magical tree. While McGregor isn't particularly enjoying his time in the blazing sun, Lily relishes every moment on the river. She becomes excited by every creature surrounding the boat and films all she can with her handheld camera, including the burly Frank. He's a curious man, so he tries the camera himself, revealing a possible attraction to Lily. She doesn't give him much time to relax, however, and insists that he steer the ship toward a more perilous but quicker route. Frank gives her a hard time about it, but since Lily persists, he decides to let her have her way. Later, Frank anchors the boat for the night so the engine can rest. McGregor turns in for the night, while Frank and Lily spend a bit more time chatting on the deck and warming up to each other. However, McGregor has an unfortunate encounter with Proxima, bringing the big cat right up to the deck. Frank tells Proxima to heel, and she begins licking McGregor's face. Lily becomes very upset with Frank when she realizes that she is his pet, and any trust she might have built in him dissipates momentarily. Meanwhile, Joachim alters his course as well, intending to locate the cursed conquistadors to assist him in finding the way to the tree. When he reaches the spot where Aguirre and his men were captured with the curse, Joachim approaches the conquistador's body and drips a little river water on it to awaken it. Two snakes emerge from the body that are part of Aguirre, and through them he makes a pact with Joachim to find the arrowhead so they can both obtain what they're seeking. The snake swears on the agreement, and Joachim frees the conquistador and his men from their prison. The next day, Frank and his passengers finally arrive at the rapids. As they navigate through the treacherous waters, Frank manages to keep them afloat, and Lily insists they continue on that path, that regardless of how terrified and awful she feels. The boat nearly makes a wild drop during their journey in the rapids, frightening everyone, but Frank successfully maneuvers it back to calmer waters. Even though the boat is stabilized, none of its passengers are, so they all vomit over the side of the bow, including Proxima. Later, as Frank and McGregor gather branches to fuel the engine, the brother confesses his reasons for joining Lily's expedition, even though he isn't much of an adventurer like her. After he realized that he was gay, Lily was the only one in their family to stand by him, and for that he would follow her anywhere. Meanwhile, Lily breaks into Frank's quarters and makes an intriguing discovery. When Frank returns to the boat, Lily confronts him about all the materials and maps she's found regarding the tree in his cabin, suspecting that he's pursuing it himself. Frank tells her that it might have been the case before, but not for a long time. He admits that it was also his reason for coming to the Amazon, searching for its magic, though he was never able to find it. Suddenly, the boat is ambushed by one of Frank's hired tribes, and they carry on the ruse with Lily and McGregor for a little while. Frank acts as a translator between Lily and the chief until Lily takes things too far, and the chief decides to end the charade. Lily and McGregor aren't very understanding about it when they find out. Sometime later, Lily asks the chief to assist her in translating the markings on the arrowhead. She tells Lily that the markings indicate that the one seeking the tears of the moon must turn water into stone and heal a broken heart, that the tree must be under the rare crying moon to produce the special bloom, which, according to the woman, will occur in 2 days. She explains that to reach the tree, one must follow the serpent that bites its own tail, an image that Lily recalls seeing on the map and promptly finds there. Lily believes she can reach the location with a canoe and without Frank, so she pays him the remainder of the money. That night, the village is attacked by the cursed conquistadors searching for the arrowhead. Frank, McGregor, and Lily each confront a different conquistador. One of them manages to snatch the arrowhead from Lily's neck and hands it to Aguirre. The conquistador tries to escape, but Frank stops him and struggles with him for the artifact. Aguirre stabs him, and before he falls through the trees, he grabs the arrowhead back and tosses it to Lily. So the chief saves Lily and McGregor, getting them safely down and urging Lily to run and get out of sight of the river where the conquistadors can't reach her. As Lily flees, Aguirre snakes catch up to her and seize her. But before he can do anything to Lily, the jungle pulls him and his men back to the river. As the conquistadors regroup, they realize they need Joachim's assistance to reach Lily. One of Aguirre's men sends his bees to the prince to inform him of their predicament. The following morning, Lily finds Frank happily believing that he's alive and well. When the chief and McGregor arrive, he notices a dagger protruding from Frank's back. Frank has no choice but to finally reveal the truth that he was actually one of Aguirre's conquistadors. Before he can explain anything further, Lily must pull out the dagger from his chest. When she removes it, without injuring Frank at all, McGregor faints after witnessing it. Lily later wakes him up to Simel, as she will be continuing the rest of the journey with Frank alone. Meanwhile, the cursed conquistadors' bees arrive at Joachim's submarine and he welcomes them inside. One of the bees shows him the location of the arrowhead on the map, and they manage to have an entire conversation, much to the amazement of his subordinates back on the boat. And during their journey, Frank and Lily discuss his life over the last 400 years. He tells her that he was Aguirre's closest friend, so he ventured to the Amazon with him to find the tear of the moon because Aguirre needed to save his daughter from dying. He worked as his cartographer. In fact, he was the one who drew her map of the river. Frank followed Aguirre to the jungle to find the magical tree petal. But once he witnessed what the conquistador was willing to do to the tribe that healed them, he realized he couldn't be part of it. Frank stopped him from killing the chieftain's daughter, who managed to escape with the arrowhead while the chieftain cursed all of them with his last breath. Ace, the years passed. Frank and Aguirre fought repeatedly until he trapped him and his men in a cave where the jungle couldn't return them to the river. For 300 years, the jungle ravaged their bodies, transforming them into the monsters they are. Lily listens to him intently and asks him what he did for those last 3 centuries. Frank tells her that he established a town where she found him, gaining and losing friends along the way when he decided to search for the tears of the moon. He built his boat and explored the entire river, finding nothing until one day he simply stopped searching and began offering cruises to tourists. Over the years, he kept discovering strays, as he calls his big cats, and took care of them one after another, hence the name Proxima, which means next. Meanwhile, Prince Joachim catches up to McGregor with his submarine. He brings McGregor aboard and blackmails him into revealing the location of the tear of the moon. McGregor shows him the location on the map, and Joachim kills the conquistador's bees so they won't share the information with their master. As Frank and Lily sail toward the same location, he tells her what will happen when he finally obtains a petal from the tree. But he says he will have 2 choices and will take the one that will finally grant him some peace. The next day, they arrive at a standstill in the river, and Lily believes they have reached the point where water turns to stone, as the arrowhead indicated. Frank dives into the river and discovers an ancient chamber with a lever, but he quickly resurfaces to tell Lily that she will have the misfortune of opening it because he can't fit inside. She panics a little since she can't swim, but eventually Frank convinces her that there is no other option, and they dive in together. Once she's inside the chamber, she pushes a lever that closes the door, and when she panics, Frank gives her a little boost of air by kissing her. Lily manages to push the ancient lever down while Frank is swarmed by piranhas. The water begins to drain from the cove, but Lily has no way of escaping until the water is fully gone. When Frank finally reaches her, thinking that she's drowned, she awakens and slaps him for leaving her submerged. As they get dressed, they realize that they've located the tree, but another problem arises when the remaining water drains from the cove. Joachim is there as well, with McGregor as his captive. To complicate matters further, one of the conquistador's bees has been trailing them, returning to inform the cursed men of their whereabouts. Joachim takes the arrowhead from Lily and compels Frank to take them into the cavern with the tree on his steamboat. Upon arriving at the tree, it appears as though it has been lifeless for centuries. Joachim instructs Lily to make the tree flourish since she's among the few who know how to accomplish it. But when she declines, Frank states that he'll do it for a single petal in exchange. Joachim consents to the agreement but retains McGregor as security. Frank retrieves the arrowhead from the prince and attempts to discover a method to open the tree. When he doesn't succeed at once, Joachim makes Lily assist him in return for Frank's petal. The 2 of them, working in unison, soon discover that the arrowhead isn't that at all, but in fact the heart. According to the instructions, they break it apart and find a magical piece inside. As they place that piece on one side of the relief and the mended heart on the other, the magic of the tree is instantly visible as it begins to blossom in the light of the moon. So once the tree is fully bloomed, Lily shoots Frank, sending him falling back to the bottom of the cave. Joachim sends his men to gather the petals from the tree before the weeping moon sets. In the meantime, Frank saves McGregor from Joachim's men, and they take back the ship with a little help from Proxima. Lily leaps up on the tree to retrieve a petal, but she barely manages to run quickly enough to snatch one as the moon sets. When she finally plucks one tear, she tumbles down the tree, and Joachim is there to extort her again the petal for her brother's life and hers. Suddenly, the tree begins to disintegrate, so she drops the petal and clings to the prince, saving herself. Frank manages to grasp the petal as well. The last thing before the adventure concludes, the conquistadors arrive at the tree and kill the prince. They pursue Lily too, but Frank displays the pedal and gets him to follow him. He leaves McGregor on the surface and makes Proxima remain with him to safeguard both him and Lily. She drops from the tree next to her brother, and they see Frank aiming to crash the boat into the ancient structure. The conquistadors confront Frank for the pedal, but he manages to fend them all off as they pursue him. Finally, he fights with Aguirre, who asks him for the pedal once more, but it is revealed to be in McGregor's possession, so he can hand it to Lily. The boat collides with the ancient monument and hits the river water from flowing in the cavern. The jumbo captures the conquistadors, including Frank, and transforms them back into stone because it can't return them to the river. Lily arrives at the location and decides to give the pedal to Frank so it will break his curse, leaving her aspirations of helping humanity shattered. When nothing occurs, she and her brother depart, with Proxima waiting patiently before her master. Lily hears her roars as Frank comes back to life and runs into his embrace. Suddenly, they notice that the magical tree has bestowed upon them one more pedal to take from it. Later, they return to the town and give Nilo the small raft they were able to use to sail back. In the final scene of the film, they have all returned to London together. Lily and Frank can be seen driving through London in a car with Proxima in the back.